What is up, guys? We are back with yet another Starion update. And look, as you can see, we have a reflection going. Look at that. You can almost see me in there. This thing actually buffed out pretty nice. Jericho spent the last 2 days scrubbing the crap out of it.
A lot.
Yeah. And then you may be asking, what are you guys doing now? Why is the wheel off? Why is that Barrett? Why is the hub off? Well, we decided to actually service it, so we're going to repack the bearings on it because everything's kind of dried out and doo-doo. Also, our springs, they don't get us low enough. So I know normally it's especially with me, it's a cardinal sin to cut springs, but what can you do? I was saying, right. So yeah, so we took one coil down only, and that should be enough because Jericho bought brand new rims for this. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at those. These are genuine wannabes. They are wannabes. Wannabe Panasport, wannabe Watanabe. But no, they look awesome. They are Rhoda RKRs.
RKR.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what they call them now?
It's race.
Ooh, okay. RKR. R. Okay.
That's why they're light.
That's why they're light. Oh, they're light? I haven't even picked up the other one yet. I'll check that out. Okay. But you can see the offset's actually really perfect for this Starion. No spacers at all. We got a nice, pretty much a flush mount with that is perfect. This is actually a -20. The fronts are a -10, and they fit awesome. The rear is 9.5 inches wide, and the fronts are 8.5 inches wide. So you got the front ones over here. So they look awesome. I love this style. I'm actually thinking about putting this exact same model on my Z. So maybe, I'm not sure, in a 15 or 17, but these are 17s in particular. So tires are just whatever, they work out great. It's plenty of meat. It's not too tall, not too low profile. It's perfect. And we'll show you later, but it fender matches perfectly. It's just with those particular lowering springs, the spring and strut kit that it came with, the rear struts are actually like a couple inches shorter, so it actually makes the rear kind of droop. I mean, it looks nice, like perfect in the, like you can barely get a finger in there, but the front has like 2.5 finger gap. It's a little bit too much, so that's why we just took it down a coil. There it is, like. So I mean, depending on the whole future of this car, we more than likely will wind up going coil over. But we actually are in a show. We are entered in a car show with the Starion. It's very first public appearance and car show, and we're pretty excited about that. That's why Jericho's been scrubbing the crap out of it. Look at that shine, man. Big difference. Big difference. And then that's why he just, on a wild impulse, just bought the wheels. Said, I need wheels. I need wheels.
It's my birthday gift to myself.
There you go. So cool. Oh, look at that. We put a little case, because you know, lately when we drive the Starion around, it gets confused for other cars. People swear it's a Supra. I'm getting kind of annoyed with that. So, is that a Supra, bro? Is that a Toyota? And then when we tell them no, it's a Mitsubishi, we sound like douchebags when we say it. I'm like, no, it's a Mitsubishi, and like, no, seriously, it's a Mitsubishi. So it doesn't have the original Mitsubishi with the little diamond star on it, so I actually had a brand new in the package factory diamond star on me, and we just stuck it there. So when people say, hey, what car is this? Oh, okay, it's a Mitsubishi Starion. Cool. All right, so besides us nipping the top of the springs to bring us down lower and greasing up the bearings, engine is, oh, you know what? I forgot. You know what? We were experiencing a little bit of an issue. Let me just get into that real quick. For one, we always had it ever since, you know, we put the motor in. Those solid mounts are so solid it creates a massive vibration that rattles all the way through the whole body. of the Starion. And what we actually did was add an this one's ATI, huh?
ATI.
Had an ATI damper.
Super dumper.
Super damper. And this actually brought all the shakes down to a comfortable low. So
Like super bearable.
like, yeah, like, so now it's like, okay, now I think we can do a cross country thing in it and become, he's making a face at me right now. But definitely, if you're doing a K24, I would say swap into anything. Definitely consider an ATI damper. So that worked awesome. Another problem that we had, and it was absolutely major, was we were driving the Starion, and all of a sudden we lost cylinder 1. And we were hoping it was just maybe spark plugs, because we are running kind of rich. I said maybe we fouled the spark plugs out. Pulled the spark plugs. Spark plugs were okay. So checked the coils, moved the coils around. Wasn't the coils. Then we went to check the injector, and injector 1 was not flowing, or we thought it wasn't firing. So these ones right here that we have currently are Deechworks 1000cc. We did have the blocks in there. We figured the blocks were cheapy ones. They failed, so we purchased a name brand, which is Deechworks. Popped those in. The car was running great. Pretty much the last video we had, that's when we had the Deechworks in it, and we were driving around everywhere, and we thought all the problems, were solved. All of a sudden, Jericho was on the way over here so we can do some work on the Starion, and it lost cylinder 1 again. So, same thing. Lost injector number 1. We were assuming maybe, dang, did we do something wrong with the wire? Is our computer good? There's something wrong with our computer. We put one of the good old blocks into the cylinder 1. That lasted just a trip around the block, and that one failed. And like, what's going on? So then it dawned on us later on, hey, I think we might be getting clogged up. We might have some sort of blockage in our fuel system. And sure enough, we did. Let me put a clip here for you.
Ew, look at that shit. It's all on the inside. I don't know what the hell that is.
Okay, yeah, see, that's nasty stuff. And what that is because one thing that I forgot to overlook, and a total mistake on my part, was I did probably kind of forget that this car did sit for 100,000 years or however long it sat, and the steel tube for the fuel supply was probably filled with water, corrosion, poop, anything imaginable, like all that calcium buildup. And all we did was drain the fuel tank, make our new lines to that tube, and then the tube out to all of our nice, fancy, expensive fuel system. And eventually just our 100 micron filter was only capable of filtering out so much, and then for whatever reason, number 1 was catching all the poop, and it got plugged. So luckily, we were almost about to purchase another set of injectors, but what we wound up doing was we did a little research, and we found a guy in Upland, California, and believe it or not, he goes by the name Stark. He's an old racing guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he actually performs fuel injection service. But this is how our injector looked when we first gave it to him.
Way down.
Wow, that is bad.
See, you can see number 1 is barely spinning. Number 2 and 3 look pretty even. Number 4 seems to be flowing a little bit more than 2 and 3. So, but now, about a few hours of cleaning later, now it looked like this.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, you see that big difference. Almost balanced perfectly. I mean, like, perfect. I mean, that's exactly how we got them from Deechworks. And they give you a flow chart, and it was pretty much matching. So thank you, Mr. Stark. Unfortunately, Mr. Stark will be retiring soon. Terrible. You know, I wish we were to find him a lot, sooner. He does do a lot of other stuff like machining and all, a bunch of other stuff. He just works right out of his house. But unfortunately, he won't be around much longer. So,
Well, no, he's not gonna die.
no, I just meant he's gonna retire from the business. So anyway, so we flushed out those lines. We put a brand new filter. I mean, I know our previous one was serviceable, but you see how gummed up it was. It wasn't even worth salvaging. So we did purchase another 100 micron filter right there. So it looks identical to ours, the previous one. And then what we actually did was add a 40 micron filter in line right before the fuel rail. It's kind of, it is a Russell brand.
Sorry, I tucked it under.
You tucked it? Yeah, well, we have a small Russell brand, inline Russell brand. A Russell fuel filter, inline fuel filter, 40 micron. So that's gonna help a lot with filtration. Jericho reinstalled the freshly cleaned injectors, and the thing runs awesome. It runs even better than the first time when we swore it was running perfectly. So now it's like night and day. I mean, before we were getting like little pops and crackles out of the exhaust, which I thought was kind of normal. But actually it was just kind of starving itself from fuel. But now all that should be situated now.
Yeah.
So now we need to worry about getting low.
Getting low.
Getting low, and also installing our new gauge bezel, gauge cluster bezel.
Gauge cluster. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that because, right, okay, because yeah, we obviously, I had mentioned in the last video that we were thinking about making some sort of bezel, which we did. So we're gonna go ahead and work on that, and we'll be right back. All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, my bezel idea is not gonna work. I miscut it or miscalculated or something, but my little indicators I planted them a little bit too high, so they are making contact with the surround that goes around the original gauge cluster, because we were going to remove the gauge cluster entirely and put this there. I need to pretty much rethink this whole idea. You can see what we were going to do was this is a little bit elevated. This is made of plexi. It's a little wedge or elevation right here for the tablet to sit right there. There's a hole drilled right under here behind there. So we're going to run a charger out there so we can constantly charge the tablet. Added a fuel level gauge to this side, and then we are going to relocate our wideband to this side. So, and then in the wideband spot, we are going to put a fuel pressure gauge. So at least all three of them match, because the wideband kind of looked a little out of place to me on there. So we'll put the wideband there. It looked cool. And then we added these little indicators, like left signal, we got right signal right there, got a high beam right next to it, high beam, check engine light. To my knowledge, I'm not sure, not 100% sure, but I don't think the Starion came with a check engine light, but our Honda has an output for it, so we can just hook it up to the ground side of this little indicator, and we will have a check engine light. Got the low fuel level sensor right there, low fuel level indicator. And then we have the parking brake. So it looked cool in my mind, believe me. It looked pretty cool in my mind. But yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink this. I'll probably use a different type of material and probably secure it to or build it to that surrounding rather than just a flat plate, because that made it a lot more difficult. And then bring my indicators a lot lower. So all right, well, so much for that, but it's okay. We'll think of something else. We always do.
Alrighty. Got the Starion back home, and it ran good, ran smooth, no issues, no sputtering, and there she is. Got her a little bit polished at the man scientist's house, and while I was there, got the rims put on, the Rhoda RKRs. Yeah, Rhoda. now. What we did is the no where we cut the coil to give it that better stance to kind of match the back. And there she is, getting it ready for tomorrow's event, which is Winter Wonder Slammed by Daily Drivers Inc. Follow them on Instagram if you guys haven't followed them yet. And it's going to be in Paris, California, and at the train museum. So roll-ins at 8 o'clock. Hopefully I can get that in and wipe down a little bit better and ready for the show. Yeah, Mitsubishi logo, so people won't confuse it as a Celica or a Supra. Starion, get it right. Right, bumpers all nice and shiny. That old school nice stance. Show you the interior. Got it all cleaned up. Yep, don't mind that. Went with this steering wheel because the Mad Panda original steering wheel that I had put on is a little flimsy. Didn't like how it felt, so I borrowed the Swift R steering wheel, mama, or like when we call it upside down. Oh wow. And unfortunately we weren't able to finish our dash. Mad Scientist didn't feel comfortable enough because we were constrained in time, and he said don't rush it, let's just do it right, wire everything up, and we'll come up with another idea soon. So that's in the works. And the first prototype he didn't like it, so yeah, we gotta make it right. There it is. Clean the interior up, put some of that Meguiar's Super Shine, make it look pretty. Got my rally art, my Starion stereo. Yep. Interior is all nice and clean. And got the beach chairs back there ready for tomorrow, so we can have a seat, probably look for a shade. And there it is. So once again, stay tuned. We'll show you the event. It'll be crazy, epic, fun, probably chaotic too. So alrighty, so don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, any comment that you might have below, or let your hate flow. Good night.